This is Elias Spartan Theodore, and you're listening to 5-Round MMA.
Hello there all, and thank you for returning back, I guess, for another week of 5-Round MMA. My name is Alex Ramirez. Alongside me is Albert Cita, and ever the triumphant return of Guillermo Cita.
I had a soccer tournament. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, soccer tournament. Did it go good? Unless you're a little more tan than usual.
Actually, we got caught in the rain. So.
Oh yeah.
Just like seeing Punk return to the world, so did Guillermo.
Well, I got to spoil. He's burying the lead there. I was gonna hold the lead up to it, and you just kind of like just bury everything.
That's what I do, man. I just bury news.
Well, on today's show, we're talking about CM Punk, talk about the Rebook deal, talk about UFC 181, and a bunch of great other stuff. Today's show is brought to you by our fine line of sponsors. First off, by 5 Rounds Clothing Line, Rock and Green Eco-Friendly Cleaner Products, and, of course, the RMA Foundation. So I guess this will be the last week I want to everybody have a scene dressed normal, because next week I want to implement a uniform policy, just like the UFC, for 500 MMA. Is that good?
Did we get a sponsor?
No, but
Nike?
you know, but we're 3 individuals, but I want us to look exactly the same. Is that good?
Okay.
No.
No. You know what? I would think it would be better if it was like team uniforms. Let's say different camps, different uniforms instead of.
Okay. One of the big news this past week
ridiculous
was the UFC.
Of what Dana White
the NBA does it. The NFL does it.
The UFC announced a deal with Reebok that they're going to officially clothe the fighters from now on, and no more patches on the shorts, no more banners either. So basically,
no more CondomDepot.com on the ass.
MMA warehouse or whatever. I guess now Dana White said that the UFC will not see a single dime of this Reebok deal, which is kind of weird, anyways. But
I'm pretty sure they'll see 20
Albert,
cents.
You've been reading up about this, so give us the specifics of this.
Okay,
or what you know, anyways.
So from what because it's very broad the way they presented it too. But the point is, depending on what tier you are in the card, depends on how much you make for the sponsorship. So if you're obviously the opening person in the card, you don't make as much as the mid card or the main event.
If you're on the Fight Pass fights,
yeah.
Right?
And then from what I heard was there's going to be like a themed a uniform for that card, right? So everybody wear the theme uniform, but the main eventers and the bigger stars will have something that's themed
a
to
signature.
A signature type of attire, but that's still kind of themed, and they will receive a percentage of how much of that shirt sells.
So let's say, like, hypothetically, when the 4th of July card comes around, everybody's having stars and stripes on their shorts.
Something like that. And let's say Chris Weidman's on the card too, but Chris Weidman will have his own little.
So this is shorts and shirts.
Yes, it's both tops and bottoms.
Yes, it's kind of saying yeah.
So it's a walkout tee.
Yeah, no.
The fight shorts.
It's the whole shebang. It's
hats,
when you're walking out, hats, whatever, and then also when they're in the octagon competing.
Because they don't wear shirts, so it's just a walk-in shirt.
Oh no, but the shorts, shorts are going to be Reebok too.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm just trying to clarify the shirt part.
There's no more walkout shirts anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be a Reebok, whatever, and themed to the card, and there'll be the generic one and then specific ones.
I guess Guillermo, do you have a problem with this?
I don't, because I come from a team sport. My thing is that
okay, but is MMA a team sport though?
It's not kind of.
No, how's it? I mean, Dana White keeps saying,
Rory Mack won't fight GSP.
But I mean, Dana White was saying, now we're like the NFL. Now we're like the. I mean, but those are team sports, though. I mean, my example with Albert was what about tennis, right?
Yeah,
the ATP has a uniform policy, but don't have the guys dress exactly the same, right?
Yeah, they don't control
tennis
what
players.
Sponsor shirt you wear, but they do have guidelines as far as what you can wear in the tennis court. I mean, it has to be an athletic shirt.
When you look
at like golf too,
yeah,
golf.
I
mean, the PGA I'm sure they have a uniform policy, but they don't have.
But they don't have them specifically.
All wear Nike.
When you think about it individually, I totally agree that they should go towards the golf and tennis. But when you're talking about if you're gonna do it uniforms and you're gonna get camps and teams, which is kind of what they really do.
Yeah.
You have multiple lone wolves that go to multiple camps. That's the only exception. But I mean, like, if you're gonna have a team, I think that'd be cool just to have their own.
But that's gonna happen though.
I know it's not gonna happen.
There's two things I really like about it and two things I really don't like about it. Let me start off with the good and finish with the bad.
Okay.
And then I love uniforms.
Well, the good thing is it is true, because you hear these horrific stories of sponsors not paying their athletes and stuff like that, and it does get pretty upsetting that these fighters have to go through all that, and you don't want a fighter to worry about their sponsor money and just worry about the fight itself. That's why I think it's one positive. The second thing is, at the end of the day, they're trying to appeal to the general audience. And if you see, the bad sponsors on the butt, on the thing. People don't like to take it seriously.
Mhm.
If you see a nice, clean look, I think people will be more attracted to it. It'll be more of an appeal for the general audience.
Yeah.
But the two things I don't like about it, and this is the part that I think is fishy, if Dana White says it's for the fighters, I don't know if you ever heard, but the NBA and the NFL actually have a players association that do do contracts
Are you
with
trying
the
to get us
uniform.
banned from the UFC? Don't
No,
we talk about no association.
I know,
or union. Do not talk about that at all.
No, but all I'm saying is, if it's for the fighters, shouldn't the fighters had an input while this negotiation was going on?
That's actually the one topic that was starting to come out when they talked about uniform is what now are the fighters gonna join a union or make a union?
But see, I'm not saying not even union, but just the fact that they should have at least went to like, okay, we're gonna discuss a little bit
even
which
to
every
the
fighter,
whole-
every card
to the insurance policy too, because the UFC, this is our insurance policy, without the negotiation of the fighters. So it's kind of weird that they're making up all these policies for the fighters without even their input. So
Exactly.
but not that we, we're,
Oh, yeah, well,
unionized.
no,
I'm not trying to say because we don't have a union here.
No.
And we will never have a union, Steven Razzo. Sorry.
UFC Dana White go, but I think we need to see how it's going to be fleshed out first before we really judge it, right? I mean,
The one positive I do like is that, from what I heard, is that you're going to be able to buy, like, let's say a Finish Line or Foot Locker, some of this equipment or gear. I wouldn't mind going up to even my Finish Line and getting, look, there's a Cain Velasquez walkout tee.
I wonder how this is going to affect it, like the tap out, affliction, fear of the
That's
fighter.
what's going to be hurting.
You think
that was the other negative thing. My second point was you did have these other companies that flourished because they were able to sponsor these fighters and stuff like that. And I just think they have to think of a more creative model because the NFL players have to, like the whole Kaepernick thing about the beats. He's the NFL
Sherman.
is sponsored by Bose, so he has to wear Bose headphones
Or nothing at all.
or nothing at all when he's in the NFL. But he can still make his commercial stuff like that. So maybe they'll help him step up. But I just feel bad for those organizations. Some that he just barely started in the MMA realm.
Yeah, but even goes like to baseball too. They have uniforms, but they get picked on shoes.
Exactly, Gatorade
the
and
gloves.
stuff like that.
Not Rollins or Nike gloves. Or whatever,
the official drink can be
Mizuno.
Powerade, but you still see Derek Jeter and Gatorade commercials.
Yeah, so it's kind of weird. Well, I say we can't really truly judge it until it's actually going in full form. But the other big news happened on UFC 181 this past Saturday was Straight Edge, the so-called
What time is it?
So-called best in the world, Mr. Pipe Bomb himself, CM Punk or Phil Brooks. Or Phil,
It's CM Punk Brooks now.
announced a multi-fight deal with the UFC, the Ultimate Fighting Championship. He has a 0-0 record, professional or amateur. I don't think has he even competed in like jiu-jitsu tournaments.
No, all I've heard is that he
He's
rolls
a CM
around.
Punk,
He just rolls
expert
around.
over here.
Yeah,
So-
me and CM Punk kick every now and then.
So
Me,
Guillermo,
him, Coco Cabana, we hang around every now and then.
don't you ever dare say Coco Bennett on the show again. CM Punk to the UFC in 2015. Guillermo, what are your thoughts on it?
It's funny because me and Albert were talking about this a little bit. The first thing that came to my head is something like James Toney, where it's
Just one and done.
maybe one and done, but I don't think he's up to the level of competitions that the UFC has to offer.
Oh no, obviously.
And James Toney,
Captain Obvious.
James Toney, came out saying, "Hey, I can roll with these guys." Then they're pushovers. Give me Randy Couture.
A cover
And
for your princess.
I know CM Punk isn't gonna get that level like Randy Couture, but I still think these guys are professional at what they do. You can't just come in and say, "Hey, I'm gonna roll with the big boys."
That's why I was gonna make a big huge point. Dana White has made it seem like he's gonna. CM Punk's only gonna fight opponents with the same record or caliber or level of fighting. So he's gonna fight a guy like that's 1-3 or 2-1.
But then,
just
like,
a year
does that
into
really
it, you know what I mean?
benefit like CM Punk? Like, I mean, like
his age too.
No, but
he's not that young.
This is the way I look at it, right?
This is so weird. Like, who's gonna get to fight him? Like, they have to put up a name against him, right?
No matter where CM Punk went, there's gonna be money that follows.
Yeah.
And I think Dana White was like, well, why not? I make the money.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
if
that's
he's
what I
if
told
he's
Albert.
Which is basically
gonna go
Dana White
anywhere,
was saying,
I
yeah.
might as well
What I
get a
told
paycheck.
Albert, I would feel a little bit better if Dana White just can say, "Hey, this is a publicity stunt."
He kind of did actually. They asked him on the post show, like, so why would you sign a guy who's a former professional wrestler, 0-0 record at his age, because his name? He was like, well, yeah, basically. He's all CM Punk called me up. He's all, I want to fight here. I don't have time to go to that, to some Midwest promotion to go through it. He's all right. I'll give you that.
That's why I don't. People are putting a
But
lot.
that's what rubs me the wrong way, because you have people that actually want to compete in MMA. Like, I'll give you an example: Bobby Lashley,
Yeah.
who was towards the up in age.
Yeah.
But he's collegiate wrestler, and he really wants to fight. He wants to make it a career out of it. And Dana White was like, no. I don't want to deal with it.
You also got to look like this. Bobby Lashley was only the ECW champion.
Oh my God.
He was the TNA champion. Okay. He doesn't have the enough pull of CM Punk, who is the longest reigning WWE champion.
Not to throw the heavyweights under the bus or anything, but I think you have a better chance at heavyweight than you do at middleweight.
Honestly, yeah, I think. Bobby,
but you guys are forgetting. You guys are trying to think of the Chris Wyman stuff like that. The only way he's going to get to that level is if he's blowing out his opponent. I don't think that's the goal. No, but I really don't think that's the goal.
What's the point of having CM Punk on a card if he's on the Fight Pass preview? I mean, okay, so here's Phil Brooks on the bottom card, or have him on Fox Sports.
Nah, dude, he's gonna be in the main card,
on the pay-per-view card.
Yeah,
a guy who's 0-0 against a guy who's 1-1.
But guess what? Everyone's gonna pay that pay-per-view.
It's all about money.
I know, yeah.
I think Phil Brooks or CM Punk.
I really think there's no title thing at all in that's not even the goal. The goal is let's finish out let's see if he can finish out the contract and get 6 fights or 5 fights.
Here's my thing. I just want to hear CM Punk actually come out and say what his ultimate goal is to be signing with the UFC.
He just said the fight. That's what it was.
Is financially, or does he?
No, I don't think financially.
Or does he want to be the champion at the middleweight division?
His salary got leaked online. Everybody knows how much he makes. Yeah. He's fine.
I don't think it's even about being champion.
And plus, AJ Lee's making good money too.
I think it's about that personal. he does have a personal drive too. I think so. Just see if he can compete, right? I mean, I think people are comparing it to Brock Lesnar, what Brock Lesnar did, but I think we all agree that no matter what Brock Lesnar wanted to do athletically, he's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
He's a freak of nature.
Yes, he's an animal.
People forget he.
You had a term for him.
Man bear pig.
The man bear pig.
I mean, people forget when he tried off the NFL, he made the team, but we just want you to go to Europe real quick just to get some games under your belt. They want to bring you back.
It wasn't like he was a football guy. He's like, you know what? I'm gonna play football.
Yeah, I think I played high school game. Yeah,
football.
And he made the team.
But we're talking about different levels here.
Yeah. But nobody really says about CM Punk. Oh, he got super athletic, here and there. So maybe the expectations can be lowered now because, like you said, because this is a guy who's 0-0.
But here's the thing: are we really gonna have lower expectations for CM Punk?
Well, I mean, it depends.
The general public,
if you're a wrestling fan,
is the general public gonna have lower expectations?
And this is how I feel, and I think it should be. I think it's like the general consistent. I mean, I'm excited to see him in a fight, just to see a fight. But I mean, I like fights. I mean, Jackson can get in a fight, and I like to watch it. But what I'm saying is, it just intrigues everybody to see him fight. Yeah. But at the same time,
at this point, I know the Green Power Ranger too.
I know. No, yeah, but
Tommy, big Tommy.
But what I'm saying is, as long as you take it for face value, I don't see a problem with it.
Yeah, I think that's a part of the treatment. It's like, oh, you know what, this guy wants to fight his name, might as well, right? So I mean, like, he's not gonna be fighting. Michael Bisping kept calling him out too on the post show.
It's like, really, come on.
He kept calling, I don't have to fight. He wants to fight, and so we'll see.
I would want to watch that.
Yeah,
pipe bomb after pipe bomb, man.
It'd be a great promo, but unless it's in a steel cage, I don't think.
Just really quick before we move on, I have other breaking news. Cesar Milano passed away.
Dude,
Whisperer.
that is fake, bro.
Really?
Quit clicking on those links on Facebook. Your thing's gonna get corrupt, bro.
Look, that is not breaking news.
I don't want to put. I don't want to plug.
He's a big dog.
I don't want to plug any other media source, but if you want to get official, go check TMZ.com. If it's not on there, it's not true. So.
All right, that'll wrap up this first segment. Again, this first segment is brought to you by 5 Rounds Clothing. Please visit 5rounds.clothing for their great line of products. So, guys, stick around. We got a lot more show for you to listen to or watch. So stick around.
Please visit 5roundmma.com on our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. 5roundmma.com.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking around. The UFC 181 Hendricks versus Lawler is in the books. It is now history. 2 title defenses, 2 title fights in one night. Robbie Lawler against Johnny Hendricks. Anthony Pettis against Gilbert Melendez. We have one new champion. Robbie Lawler defeated Johnny Hendricks via decision.
Technically, there's a big history day. I think UFC 181 is always going to go to the history books.
Why?
We got a new champion, new Wheaties box, new uniform announcement. And CM Punk.
Well, just like the whole in general. It was a grand spectacle.
I was in Stockton for the whole week. I was trying to get Nick Diaz or Nate Diaz for their thoughts. I was unable to find them with all the cows around me. So.
They weren't in Gilbert's corner, just Jake Shields Woods. But he did give a shout out though, saying he got Nick next week.
He is training for.
So you got Nick next week. You got Nate coming. Nate next week. Nick coming up in January. So those scrap packs always scrapping, like they always say. So UFC 181, top to bottom, I think an awesome card. fights. All of them are exciting. Sergio Pettis won. Probably one of the highlights of the undercard was Raquel Pennington against her chokeout against Ashley Evans Smith.
Also,
that was kind of exciting.
Josh Salmon's KO head kick.
Yeah,
that was pretty impressive.
Just a story alone. His girlfriend died, I think, in April of this year. Yeah. And UFC 41 took place on her birthday, and he scored a head kick KO like in. Just his emotional moment. It was awesome to hear about it.
And then we get to the controversy of the Uriah Faber.
Okay, so let's I want to stop here. Uriah Faber against Francisco Rivera. Even like going into the fight, nobody really gave Francisco Rivera
any shot.
A shot.
I think
Joe Rogan said that in order for Francisco Rivera to win, for Rivera to win this fight,
the perfect fight,
which was almost going that way. Until he got an inverted eye poke.
A nasty eye poke at that. It was very nasty.
And then Faber was able to capitalize, get the choke, and later on, people kind of booing. I'm like, oh, you didn't see in slow motion, it looks really, really bad. But when you see it in real time, I don't think it wasn't intentional. And like even Joe Rogan's like, oh, do you feel bad? Like, like Faber's like, well,
it happens.
Crap happens. What do you want me to do? And so people are kind of not really giving Faber this win. They're saying, even Kenny Florian said they should have a rematch between Rivera.
Francisco Rivera was looking good.
So, again, what do you think about this? I mean, it was unintentional. I mean, we all know Faber's super quick, so if a guy kind of clutches up, and I think it's more on the referee, right? You see a guy reaching for his eye, stop the fight.
I think the people should have booed the referee more than they were booing Uriah Faber.
Yeah, I don't think it's Uriah Faber's fault at all. I think it's the referee. It really comes down to him for the fighter safety.
Yeah, exactly. Good point.
And I think what he should have done is either examine with the situation, put him apart. If he had to cancel the fight and reschedule a rematch later on, but I mean, like that's unfair for Francisco Rivera to begin with. I mean,
I think the only fair thing they can do is rematch, just because the fight was turning out to be a good fight, and it just sucks that something like this happened. I mean, like it's like the whole Phil Davis thing all over again.
That's what I was gonna say. Is Phil Davis has the same situation? It's no contest,
and that kind of hurts his image too,
right?
They
did the next rematch.
Yeah,
I don't think it hurt Phil Davis's image.
I'm not image, but kind of stifled his like
momentum,
right?
Yeah.
Momentum, yeah.
Well, and at the same time, John Bone Jones is one of the fighters that people think that he does it a lot, but intentionally. That he's a known eye poker.
And at this point, where is Uriah Faber really going to? I mean, besides another matchup with Dominic Cruz, but
I would like. I think the fair thing and the right thing to do is the rematch.
I think it's okay for him to do a rematch.
I really do think they need to start getting into a better glove design. I mean, the technology is there. I know. I think it was Cub Swanson that tweeted out a picture of a glove that I thought fit perfectly. It covers like the fingers, but it just covers it so you can still go like that. But when you go like that, it's covered. So
aren't like Taekwondo gloves kind of like covered like little? Mittens?
Yeah, they look kind of like that.
Okay,
but I think maybe this is a good example to relook at it.
Yeah, so let's jump up to the actual pay-per-view card. First bout. Were you with Abel Trujillo? Because I know I'm on Team El Cucuy right here.
Yeah, El
Tony
Cucuy.
Ferguson.
No, don't get me wrong. I like El Cucuy. He trained with Brock Lesnar. He's the Cucuy. But I really liked Abel Trujillo. I mean, I thought there was some stock in there. His only loss was to Khabib Nurmagomedov. And so I really thought there was a lot of stock in there. And it just doesn't feel like that.
It came more to Tony Ferguson being the more complete fighter and having the more had better stamina. So
because El Cucuy had to weather the storm. He got clipped and he was rocked. And all the credit to him. He was able to recover. And he turned it into a mixed martial arts fight and was able to expose Abel Trujillo.
I think that weakness. They're 7-2 going into this fight that even though he's 17-3 and like riding a 4-fight win streak, that Ferguson's not even ranked in the top 15, I think.
Yeah,
or outside the top 10. But now they're saying he should get a top 10 opponent. Like Guillermo, do you think top of your head who's a top 10 guy you think Ferguson should get? Like Bobby Green, Donald Cerrone. Can he compete with those guys?
Didn't Bobby Green fight Abel Trujillo, or wasn't he scheduled to fight?
I think so. I'm not too sure. He's an Abel Trujillo expert right here.
Yeah, I think they were supposed to fight, and they got mixed.
It got all mixed around. But
I think Bobby Green's a good test for him.
The question, can Ferguson not compete in the top 10, Guillermo?
Yes, I think even before this, riding his 4 or 5 win streak, we've seen Tony Ferguson. He's taking leaps and bounds on how well he's being a complete fighter.
Yeah.
I think this is a perfect time to give him his rematch with Michael Johnson, where he does have his one loss in the UFC. Just because I think once he gets over that hurdle, then we can introduce him to the top 10.
That's a good point.
Yeah, and he is obviously it's no secret that the UFC is trying to
get that Latino market.
Yeah, get the way back in Mexico again. Who better than El Cucuy, right? So taking time here to kind of slow down the Jets here. The Duffinator, the Duff man. Todd Duffee
there's
himself.
a warrant out for his arrest.
No, I think was it the Skynet cyborg Todd Duffee returned after 2-year layoff.
Dude, that was attempted murder. I mean,
Anthony Hamilton.
He, like, first of all, he knocked the guy out, and then he went in for like the kill. Like he was about to do the hammer fist from death, and he got a couple in before the ref was able to stop it. But I mean, that was some scary stuff.
The thing about Todd Duffee, he was very young and exciting when he first
Well,
came
no,
into the UFC.
he's only 28 now.
Yeah, he's only 28.
Well, yeah, he's still young, but I'm saying he was even younger. So the potential was
Two
there.
minor- yeah.
So my hope is that it doesn't get into his head. Now, hopefully he's learning from Cain Velasquez. But
Well, that was the point I wanted to bring up too. Before, I remember my whole thing was like, well, he trains with AKA. Even though the heavyweight division is he's not with AKA no more. He trained with the American Top Team for this fight. So I think he did it purposely, knowing that the heavyweight division is so thin that title shot can come in whenever.
And also seemed too like his health issues were even more than just like a bum knee or a bum
dude,
ankle.
it was like
It's
serious stuff.
And he even
dude.
said like suffered a couple bouts of anxiety as well too. So hopefully now he can get his life in order and straight, and I think make a big push because with Cain Velasquez out, isn't this division wide open?
yeah, and I think a rematch with Alistair Overeem would actually propel him.
Actually, yeah, that's a
good,
perfect.
yeah, because they
depending
fought in K1, right?
depending
or,
how-
or
and,
Dynamite or whatever.
Yeah, Overeem knocked him out in like 20
so
seconds.
Depending how the turnout goes this weekend, I think that's a perfect that line's pretty good.
Yeah.
Or against Travis Browne, who was also in this
Go
card
ahead,
too.
continue.
But as long as he stays away from Never Back Down franchise, I think Duffee will be good
okay,
because he came out in part 2 and
the movie franchise.
after that his career bombed.
We're not talking about Todd Duffee's acting choices here. So Travis Browne did defeat Brandon Schaub. I think this is kind of more of a get one under your belt for Travis Browne.
Yeah.
Because I think Brandon Schaub is what he is now. I don't think he's going to really evolve anymore. Not the guy, but I think even like they're saying in the post fight, this is a kind of a pattern we see for Brandon Schaub, but hesitancy and not really capitalizing. So even Travis Browne's like, I won.
I just
That
think
was
his
good.
career's outside of the ring, to be honest.
Brandon
Not
Schaub?
Yeah, I don't think he's bad in the ring, but I think he just has more talent outside the ring.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
now he's 10-5 now, but he's in the heavyweight division. That's the only thing that has going for him. I think he has at least 1 or 2 fights left, depending if he can win the next fight. But I do see, like you said, more of an outside approach for the UFC.
Well,
but I think he's still a minimum has 2 more fights in this division, just because how weak this division is.
It's also like kind of his losses to Travis Browne, Andre Arlovsky, Ben Rothwell, Big Nog, and Roy Nelson. So it's kind of seeing that, and he beats up everybody else. So it's kind of like he could beat up the guys who are not supposed to be in the top 10.
And the hands get heavier if he goes even higher than
well,
that.
I heard Frank Mir still wants to fight, so there's a fight right there.
So Travis Browne, now that Verdum is holding the interim title, he's kind of stuck in limbo, right? Because
he lost already against Fabricio Verdum.
pretty badly too.
Yeah,
so.
I think he's better off avenging that Bigfoot loss than trying to work his way towards Fabricio Verdum. I think he should let the Fabricio Verdum thing played out with Cain Velasquez and whoever goes in that scenario, and then worry about getting Bigfoot Silva or whoever. I think Bigfoot Silva's already booked to fight somebody.
Well, here's
get
the
the
thing.
winner out of that.
Next week we have Junior Dos Santos versus Stipe Miocic.
Isn't that crazy how I'm completely forgetting about JDS now? It's kind of weird. Huh?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So I think that matches up well with Travis Browne, either the winner
The
or
winner of that one.
Yeah, or like I said earlier,
it depends on who the winner is.
the-
Because if it's Junior Dos Santos versus Travis Browne, if Stipe Miocic wins, you have to put Stipe Miocic versus Verdum if Cain Velasquez
you don't
can't
think
return.
if JDS wins, he's going to call for title shots and the
He's gonna ask for it,
no,
but,
you know, he's
Verdum?
gonna ask for it.
but I do not
Especially
want
since
to see
he has a win over it.
Cain of Junior Dos Santos 4.
But like I
gotta
said
avoid
earlier,
it as much as possible.
the Todd Duffee match does make sense to me.
Yeah.
But we're running out of time, so we better get to the.
Before UFC 181 took place, Dana White, ever the promoter, said that Anthony Pettis, if he's healthy, is the best pound for pound fighter in the world. And after his performance on Saturday, Guillermo, do you agree with that?
I think so.
Think so, pound for pound, if you could say healthy?
I think so.
Better than Aldo, better than John Jones,
And
Ronda Rousey.
I really want to see that Aldo versus.
And I think we will see it. I think if Jose Aldo loses the belt, he's gonna move up and get an instant title shot.
I think regardless he moves up, whether he has the belt or not.
Or if Anthony Pettis can get 2 fights in 2015, I think we see our first super fight. So
Yeah. But I mean, like, he took care of business with Gilbert Melendez.
yeah,
made
Gilbert
it
Melendez
look easy.
Gilbert Melendez had a good game plan. But
like you said, you get a
Anthony
little inch.
yeah,
of
when it
a
comes
opening.
to this caliber, you make one little mistake and it's over.
I think the reason why I say Anthony Pettis is the best pound for pound at the moment is he makes everything look so easy.
That's true. Yeah.
What's the name? John Bone Jones. It's getting harder.
Yeah.
It's getting harder for him. And Anthony Pettis, it doesn't matter the level of competition that rises up to him. It's like easy work.
Yeah.
Look at Benson Henderson.
Hey, he's making guys who are Ben Henderson
Elite.
and Melendez look like they don't even belong there. So that's it for Anthony. I mean, nothing more we can say that has already been said about Anthony Pettis. Main event: Robbie Lawler against Johnny Hendricks. Do you agree with the decision?
100% no.
No?
But
I agree with it.
before I say it, I was disgusted. I mean, disgusted at what Johnny Hendricks was doing the last 2 rounds.
She still should have won the fight
because we're because of the rules. I mean, the rule says
last time I
if
checked,
you win.
I checked, it's a 5-round fight, so
Yeah.
you can't fight for 3 and take the last 2 off and expect to win, can you?
You can because that if you do the math, 3 always beats
Come
2,
on.
and it was no way those 2 rounds were 10-8. There's no way. So Johnny Hendricks wins this fight. But as a champion, I mean, if this was a regular fight, I wouldn't have no problem. But he's a champion, and when you're a champion, I think you get held in a higher a level, and you have to fight all 5 rounds. If you're really a champion, you go out there and prove you're the champion. Don't rest the last of the 4th and the 5th. And then but after saying that, why even have a scorecard if you're not going to use it? He won. He clearly won all 3 rounds. I think he won 4 rounds, but for sure he won the first 3.
Okay, so he was being billed as a guy who knocks guys out, but his last 4 fights have all gone to decision. Guillermo, has Johnny Hendricks lost his killer instinct, his aggressiveness?
The thing is, George St. Pierre was the champion for so long that everybody wanted to knock him off that totem pole. I think now that he's no longer there, I don't think the motivation is there for Johnny Hendricks.
You don't think so? He said before the fight camp he blew up to 215 pounds.
Yeah.
Well, he says that's his biggest issue, and that's the biggest thing he's going to correct. He's going to walk around 195 pounds, and I think it's going to make the world the difference the next time we see him. And I really do think that was the true issue. And even though congrats to Robbie Lawler, that title's not going to stay there long because the Red King is coming.
Anyways, so go back to your point.
And to answer your question, it just comes down to his motivation. It's not there.
It's not there?
If he really wanted to, he'd go,
Remember,
full throttle.
Guy was knocking guys out left
And
and right.
all he had to do was touch him in the chin.
Yeah.
That's all he had to do.
Remember the Catman fight?
Yeah, not just because he couldn't finish Carlos Condit because Carlos was a beast anyways. But remember the GSP fight went to decision. The first rival went to decision. This one went to decision. So where is that killer instinct? Where is that the lethal big riggers running over guys?
The other thing besides the motivation is maybe injury. I mean, he's had injuries to his hands, to his shoulder. He broke his hand against GSP.
He broke his hand against Robbie Lawler.
No, it's tore his bicep against Robbie Lawler.
Tore his bicep.
So I think maybe that plays a factor into it as well. So I mean, motivation and injury.
Robbie Lawler's new champion. Congratulations to him. According to Albert, it will not last long because
the Red King is coming.
The Red King, whoever that is going to come behead him, I guess,
My
or whatever.
Rory McDonald.
Him in his Echo Stitch suit, or what is it?
No longer a Reebok.
Reebok? Oh, yeah. Reebok makes suits now, or what?
No, but he was wearing a suit at UFC 181, and he looked damn good.
I think that is it for today's show. Until then, make sure to follow us on Twitter at 5RoundMMA. Follow us on Instagram at 5RoundMMA as well. And like us on Facebook. It's FIVE Round MMA. And subscribe to us on iTunes, Podomatic, YouTube, and I think that is it for right.
Yeah, I think great show.
A big thank you to all of our sponsors. Now that we're all here, can we get a superstar clean of a rock and green clean star of the show? Big Gay, can you help us out on that one?
It's gonna be Alex Ramirez.
All right. I am the winner. So that is brought to you by Rock and Green Eco-Friendly.
But they were good questions.
I rise up the conversation. Brought to you by Rock and Green Eco-Friendly Cleaning Products. Big thank you to them. And Albert, take us away.
I just want to thank our executive producer over here, Guillermo Cita. I almost didn't thank you last week. Our engineer over there, Big Game. And then our sound engineer, Steven Roswell with Roswell Records. I will not plug in the W Network because I think you guys are being lazy with TLC. And don't try and put in TLC plus chairs. I don't like it. Get creative. Someone grab that brass ring.
And then next week we'll have the fallout from UFC on Fox.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Versus JDS and the tough finale as well. So stick around for that.
Oh, yeah. We're the cream of the crop.